Welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever is the time on your side. And I'm happy to see a lot of friends also among the participants. And I'm happy that you could join us today. For those of you who haven't met me yet, my name is Grzegorz Szalajko, and I'm one of the IPMA Project Excellence Award team lead assessors. I've been with the awards for quite a few years. I actually started in 2005, so this is my 17th year in the program, and I always enjoyed every single one of them. So what I will share with you today is a lot of information about how the awards works, how to prepare for participation in the process, and also how the model that we use for the awards is going to work for you or for the assessment process. So just so you become familiar with the other faces behind the whole system, I'd like to introduce Paulian Stahl-Ong, who is our Global Awards Coordinator. Paulian makes sure that all the awards run smoothly from the managerial side. And we also have Eva Bednarczyk, who is our Global Awards Manager. She runs the entire awards project office, and probably she's the person that you will be in contact with for most of the time. Eva is together with us today, and she is operating the chat. So whenever you have any questions, please use the chat or Q&A functionality. Eva will be trying to respond to your questions live as you type them. And if there's going to be any question that we would like to put forward to discuss it together with the rest of the audience, Eva will also transfer this question to me, so I could cover that and provide the answer that more of you could be interested in. Actually, today, just behind the wall, we have quite a few other people who are busy now working on the preparations for this year's process, because exactly at this moment, in this hotel, I'm in Movenpick in Amsterdam, where we are running assessors training. We have a number of fantastic individuals from all around the planet learning the model now and getting ready for the process this year. So there's plenty more people behind the process. Some of them are just being educated as you watch this webinar. So for those of you who joined us without prior exposure to IPMA as the organization, let me start with introducing you to the organization itself. So first of all, IPMA is the oldest international professional organization that deals with project management. It's been founded in 1965, so it's been quite a few years now, and it is currently one of the biggest organizations of that kind worldwide, and has representation pretty much on every single continent. We'll come to that in a minute. It's an organization that has devoted its entire, I would say, life into helping project managers to network, helping project managers to share knowledge, helping project management associations also to come together. And we have a number of products that I will talk about for a second, just in a minute. So just so you get a little bit of understanding how big IPMA is, we currently have over 72 member associations. And maybe this is interesting for you to know that IPMA is a kind of a club for local associations, and you become a member of IPMA by joining a local project management association, which operates independently, but is a member of a larger club that we call IPMA. And why is it important? It's important because in our hearts, as much as we appreciate and we try to create global standards, at the same time, we try to appreciate and help with everything that is specific to the local needs of project managers living in different areas of the planet, living in different cultures, or operating in various industries. That's why we put a lot of attention to make sure that our member associations are strong and have a worldwide presence, addressing the needs of project managers wherever they are, and at the same time talk together to create global standards, to create global services, and to make sure that whatever we learn in one region is transitioned to the other ones. So when you look at IPMA's products and services, obviously the ones you probably noticed already is the events that the organization is running, especially the Global Congress, which is the event for our members. We meet annually in various locations of the planet. It's usually different place every time the Congress is organized. This year, for example, is going to be in Japan. We'll talk about it a little bit later. We also organize a large research conference. It's also an annual event. And of course, we'll do it this year. It's a live event, or actually hybrid event, that is going to happen in Serbia this year. We have a lot of specific events that are organized either by our member associations or by different groups of them. Plus, we also have something that we call the Young Crew. Young Crew is a special part of the association that deals with young project managers, which is below 35. And they also organize their own events. They have their own conferences, they have their own workshops. So if you happen to be one of them, we strongly encourage you to also explore the world of IPMA Young Crew, as we call them. IPMA also has a number of international standards. I will introduce you to those standards in a minute. We also have a website where you can find a lot of interesting information. It's IPMA.World. And we're also present on social media, where you can find a lot of interesting stuff being published, especially in terms of various events you could attend or various publications that might be of your interest. And of course, last but not least, we have the awards system. And for that, I will turn into another slide where you can see what kind of awards we're running in the IPMA. I would say, oldest and most significant one is IPMA Global Project Excellence Award. And we run it in 3 categories. We run it for mega-sized projects, large-sized projects, and small, medium-sized projects. The first 2 categories, mega and large, they have a quite intense process that includes site visit, where we physically send assessors to assess the project, making sure that these complicated endeavors get the right level of scrutiny when we assess them. Also for small, medium-sized projects, we run that in many categories, because we want to make sure that projects of any size can join it. And we have this process offline. It's kind of an offline process where basically our assessors work together on assessing your projects virtually. The good thing about it is that this process is much easier for you to enter, much cheaper to participate in, which might be a factor for this size of a project. We also run what we call global individual awards. This is for those individuals who have fantastic results as project managers. We have Young Project Manager of the Year award, we have Project Manager of the Year award, and we have Agile Leader of the Year, because we think it is still important to highlight those project managers who deal with projects led in agile way. And finally, we have a system of research awards. We have Young Research Award, we have Research Award, we have Graduate Research Award, and Research Lifetime Achievement Award, which is for the most special members of the research community. That and this one is kind of a lifetime achievement Oscar for researchers. And as you see, this is quite a big spectrum of different awards you can get from IPMA. Speaking of Global Project Excellence Award, which I believe most of you are most interested in, it has been established in 2002, so it runs for 20 years already. We have a beautiful anniversary this year, and I hope there's going to be lots of reasons to celebrate. This has been running uninterrupted for so many years, and you will see in a minute what kind of fantastic companies join the process. It is based on what we call IPMA Project Excellence Model that I will show you briefly in a second. And we are super excited to tell you that we already have 250 applicants that took part in this process, which is amazing amount of projects that have been properly led. And maybe a little bit of a background, why this award was created and why is it so important for us. because, you know, when you look at the press, normally in all kinds of newspapers, internet portals, in most cases, when somebody writes about project managers, they write about our failures, that, you know, some public project didn't work as expected, it didn't deliver on time, that there was some budget being exceeded, etc., etc. And hardly ever you can read about good projects that have been delivered on time, that brought a lot of value to local community, that changed the industries. We wanted to change that. That's why we ran this award. We want to make sure that those projects that deserve it, they get that visibility. And that visibility is needed for all of us in the profession. We want to make sure that publicity knows not only about those projects that didn't necessarily succeed, but also learns about these project managers who do a fantastic job, and they enrich our lives every single day. And this is pretty much what this award is about. We promote project excellence in this award, and as you will see in the model, we are pretty method agnostic. So for us, it doesn't really matter what kind of methodology your project was using. You can do your projects based on, I don't know, Prince2, PMI's methods, or any other organizations for that matter, because for us, we always highlight another thing. For us, what matters is excellence. For us, what matters is that the project was well managed. And if you have used any methodology that is available on the market in a way that helps the project to succeed, we will appreciate it. So actually, we have a number of projects among the award winners who have used either methods from other organizations that we're actually friends with, or they use their own homegrown methodologies, and they succeeded to that extent that they were on the podium of the awards. When it comes to global individual awards, these have started a little bit later. They started in 2012, so they are already running for 10 years, and we've seen amazing participants coming from all over the planet. We had people from basically every single continent applying for these awards. And for us, this one is also important because, you know, sometimes it's important to show the person behind the project. And we had amazing amount of young project managers. We had amazing amount of project managers who personally achieved so much that even their teams were submitting them for that award as a kind of even sort of surprise. We had great agile leaders that have proven that they could change the entire organizations by running their projects differently. And we want to show these people. That's why we ran this award. This one is based on another model. I will talk about this model just briefly. It's ICB, which is Individual Competence Baseline, which is a model that IPMA uses to assess competences. Last but not least, Research Award. IPMA is an organization that is very close to the research community. We have a lot of very active members who are publishing a lot. They are doing research, they are publishing a lot, and they enrich our knowledge about management. And we want to also make sure that this is visible. So this award is running since 2006, also quite a few years now. We had a number of fantastic research projects being highlighted there, also fantastic individuals. We praise ourselves to have top international researchers being our friends, being the ones we had a chance to show during our events as the example for others that start their career and are looking for role models in that regard. So having said that, if you want to read more about these awards, because of course we only have 1 hour, so we cannot dig too deep into the details, we invite you to visit the websites that IPMA is running. And the first one is awards.ipma.world. This is where you will find a lot of details, or you can alternatively go to IPMA.World/home/awards. It's pretty much the same thing. If you prepare to watch videos, which also includes this kind of webinars as you're watching at the moment. Also, probably this webinar will be published in that place. You can visit our YouTube channel. You have the name on the slide. It says IPMA Global Awards YouTube channel. And in that channel, you will find a number of videos both from webinars like this, but also videos recorded by our award participants. So fantastic projects that also present themselves through very exciting videos. I actually watch them quite regularly because I like to come back to these videos just to remind myself how these projects were run, what was special about them, etc., etc. Also, very interesting thing, if you happen to be someone who teaches project management, this is an excellent place where you could direct your students so they would see those amazing examples as part of their education. So they would also get something better than what they can read in the press about how project management is performing. So when it comes to standards, because I mentioned them quite a while ago, IPMA has 3 major standards that you could use in your professional life. First of them, and the most, I would say, mature, is ICB. ICB stands for Individual Competence Baseline. It is a standard that helps you to determine what competences are needed either to run projects, portfolios, or programs. It is divided into those parts. And it is an excellent source of knowledge about competences, about the ways to measure competence. It is also a foundation for IPMA's certification system. So if you would like to read more about IPMA's certification, you can go to IPMA website. There's a tab that says for individuals, and there you will have links to both ICB as a model and our certification system for individuals. Then the second one is IPMA Project Excellence Baseline, or what we call it IPMA PEB or PEB. This is the model that we use for the awards system. However, it is not designed just for the awards. This model was created with all kinds of companies that want to use it to assess their own projects, either internally or as a service provided by consultants. So we actually have also a special program for those of you who would like to become professionals in applying that model. It's called PEP Professional. So again, if you go to IPMA website, IPMA.World, and go to the tab for projects, you will find that model there. You will find all information about the awards we run. And also you'll find more information about PEB Professional program, where you can get this accreditation that will distinguish you as a person that is fluent in using this model. Finally, we have IPMA OCB, which stands for Organizational Competence Baseline. This model helps you to assess organizations as a whole. So if your job is to look into maturity of project management in the entire company or entire organization of another sort, like government or NGO, you can also use OCB for that purpose. It's going to take you to the organizational level and provide criteria that you can use for conversation about project management there. And this standard is also a foundation for a service that IPMA provides. It's called IPMA Delta. It's an assessment system where your organization can be professionally assessed and get feedback on how are you doing in terms of organizational project management. All 3 standards are available for free. So if you want to get a copy in electronic version, you can always go to IPMA store. You will find links on the website, and you can either download the PDF for free or get a hard copy for 20-something euros. It's not a big expense, but you can have it right away just even after this webinar. Just go to the store, pick one of these standards, choose electronic version, and you can have it for free within minutes. So now let's have a look at IPMA Project Excellence Baseline. This is the most important one for us in this context, because this is the standard that we use for assessing projects in the awards system. And a few facts about it. First of all, we have designed this standard to help you to assess projects and programs. So this is not a standard for portfolios, but for projects and programs, it works beautifully. It is very much continuous improvement based. So what this standard appreciates a lot is that you develop your methods as you learn something from the projects. So actually, if we would have a choice to give higher score to a project that just applied some method perfectly, but didn't learn a thing during the course of the project, or a project that didn't necessarily started well, but later had this continuous improvement cycle and came into the method that suits it well, actually the model will promote that project that learned a lot and that implemented the learnings as they went. Then this model is also a fantastic tool for benchmarking projects, and I know quite a few companies that are actually using it for internal benchmarking, because it lets you easily score your projects using its criteria and compare these projects among themselves. For example, to pick those that are managed in the most fantastic way, so you could share the best practices that these projects provide. Also, important thing maybe to mention at this point is this model pays a lot of attention to leadership. So this is not a model that looks solely on the process side of the thing. We look a lot into the culture of management. We look a lot into the way leaders behave in the project. We look a lot into the way leaders also work with stakeholders, and to what extent stakeholders have a chance to be engaged in the project and have impact on things that will eventually have impact on them. If you think about where you could apply the model and at which stages of the project you yourself, so outside of the award system, how you yourself could use the model, we've designed it the way that you can either use it in the very early beginning. So, for example, personally as a consultant, I use this model a lot in the design stage of the project. So we do some kind of a health check before we get the project started, just to ensure that we have all the important ingredients in place and that the project has a high chance of achieving success from the beginning. You can also use it throughout the project for continuous improvement. So you can use this model for retrospective sessions. You can use this model for project reviews. You can use this model for conversations with project managers about their performance in the project. We've seen all of that done by commercial companies out there in the world, and they come back to us with a feedback that this helps them to structure these activities, but also help them to look at the right things. So they go beyond just the pure compliance, but they also look at leadership, they look at stakeholders, etc. Finally, you can use the model at the end of the project for the final retrospective, or slightly after that to do some kind of a post-project evaluation, mostly to learn from the experience that you had throughout the project. Again, this model helps you to structure that activity, helps you to structure your findings from that activity, and helps you to eventually, at the end of the day, share this with the rest of the organization or the industry for that matter. So these are the moments you can use the model. And of course, in the awards, we want to use it after the project is complete. So when you submit your project for the award, we expect your project to be completed, because we want to see the final outcome of the project. We want to see how it played out later once the deliverables produced by the project were put into use and what kind of value was delivered. So in our case, we will go into the last part of the of this graph that you see on this slide, and we will do post-project evaluation as part of the awards process. So staying for a while in the context of the model, if you think who would be the best users or the groups that would use it in your companies, we strongly recommend to consider this model as a tool for senior management, so people who are in the role of sponsors, maybe not on the detailed level, but as sponsors, they should at least understand the areas they should look into when they have their role as project governance in this context. For sure, project program and portfolio managers that can use it in their daily practice for project evaluation, for project retrospectives, learning, and so on. But also heads of project offices and portfolio management offices, because they can either use it as an evaluation model for the process itself, for the projects themselves, but also they can use it to evaluate project management processes inside the company. Personally, I did this exercise several times. where we use the model not to assess particular project, but we use the model to assess the methodology that company was using, because it gives you also a nice benchmark, and it checks if the methodology has the right coverage. Also, knowledge quality process managers, they find this model very useful because it gives you a nice framework for testing your processes, checking your processes, for sharing the knowledge, etc. So I guess it will become pretty obvious once you see how they could use it. Researchers are using it a lot. Personally, I teach at a couple of universities, and we show this model to students to give them the right thinking or the right culture of project management. So I like to use this model, for example, as first class in all kinds of project management programs at the universities. So students would get the concept of sustainable project management. They would get a concept of continuous improvements in project. They would get a concept of being flexible as a leader before they get to all these tools and techniques that they are going to learn later in the program. And it works beautifully for that. And of course, we use it in the award system. So our assessors are trained in that model, just like I told you. A bunch of them is just in the room next to me, participating now in the training for assessors. And last but not least, consultants, coaches, or trainers, they could use that model as well. And we encourage them also to go into our PEP professional program. So they would get this nice badge that says, I'm a PEP professional, I know how to use them all. Personally, as I make my living as a consultant, I just love this model because it helped me to streamline diagnostic part of my work significantly. My customers love the format in which they get feedback after my assessments. So this is a super useful tool for consultants, and I strongly encourage those of you who are in that role to also consider the model as one of your working tools here. So when it comes to principles behind the model, first of all, we are always looking for something that surpasses ordinary standards. So whenever you look at what model encourages you to do, is to be very observant about the ways you could get your project management better. We don't want you to settle basically on the state where you just implemented what it's known and you're just happy because you just took something off the shelf, implemented it like million project managers, and stopped there. Because this is not the way we get progress. The way we get progress in our community of project managers is by us experimenting with new approaches, new methods, trying new ways of doing things. And this model strongly appreciates that. So it's a model that will encourage innovation, it will encourage curiosity, it will encourage experimentation, etc. So secondly, the assumption we have behind the model is that probably you will never get a top score in that model because it's a moving target. We consider the community of project managers being so creative that the border is moving all the time. And the reflection I had this morning when I was preparing for the training that we have in the other room is that we created that model 5 years ago. And when you look at the latest development of various project management standards, you see that the model still provides you the tool to assess modern projects. And there's still something that when you do assessments doing this model using that criteria, there's still new things that surprise you. So probably the project I would assess very high 5 years ago, right now would be much lower, would get a much lower score because there are so many new ways of doing things, and model is still able to pick it up. And I'm very happy to see that effect even after 5 years. Then what we also encourage in this model is that you really look long term. So it's not like, I will make this project perfect and that's it. What we strongly promote is that you aim for continuous learning. You aim for like a long distance walk where you will not only improve the project today, but you will also have capacity to do it constantly and to add that value to the project management of your organization with this and every next project to come. Having said that, let's have a look how the model looks like. So first of all, we have three areas of the model, which is people and purpose, processes and resources, and project result. So let me start by telling you a little bit about the philosophy behind these areas. First of all, what we consider a foundation for excellence is the right people working under good leadership and all of them knowing where they want to get. So meaning that they have the right goals ahead of them and they know what kind of value they want to deliver, which is what we call purpose here. We not only believe, we have scientific proof, because this model has been tested by several researchers. We have scientific proof that if this area is not addressed, so you don't have the right leadership, the goals are unclear, you don't have the right people, or you haven't equipped the people you got with the right competences and the right environment, your project is way less likely to succeed. Or to put it the other way, more likely to fail. So that's why we called it foundation, because without it, sometimes it's not even worth considering the other parts. Frankly, I can tell you that several times when I did commercial assessments, we found significant deficiencies in this area, and we have decided to actually stop the assessment process, because no matter what we would find later, these findings in this area were significant enough that we knew that without fixing them, there's no reason to even ask questions about the other parts. Second one, B area, processes and resources. It's something we call reinforcement of excellence. Why do we call it reinforcement of excellence? We have actually kind of borrowed it from Agile Manifesto. If you know Agile Manifesto, one of the core principles of Agile Manifesto is that you should have people and interactions above processes and tools. And we believe the same. We appreciate processes and tools. We believe and we know that good processes and good tools will help the teams to achieve their objectives. However, if we see that processes and resources do not reinforce excellence, that they do not help people to get their job done, then it means you have the wrong processes and the wrong tools. And the model's job here is to pick this up. And I will show you that in a minute in the detailed criteria. Finally, what we believe in is that there's no other way to prove the excellence than deliver. So that's why you see that project results area is called proof of excellence, because what we know is that if the project had fantastic leadership, if the project had the best processes and resources ever, but it didn't achieve the goal, we can't call it an excellent project. We want to see the results. And only then when we see the result, we have the ultimate proof of excellence. And all these three parts, they come together, they shape some kind of a system that is highly interacting between different parts of it. That's why we make the model circular, because we know that all these elements will interact. It's never like, you know, you fix this first, you fix that, then you get the results. No, you have to constantly observe the results, tune your purpose, tune your tools to get to that purpose in a better and better way. If you look at the details, of course, I will not read every single detail on this slide. If you're interested in getting more details, we strongly encourage you to download the model yourself and look at the, especially at the chapter 5 and appendix A. In chapter 5 and appendix A of the model, we have all the details behind the criteria. But I will just walk you through the main points here. So first of all, if you look at people and purpose, we assess three major things. First of all, leadership and values. This is very much about the leader's attitude in the project. Things like, do they walk the talk? Do they care about stakeholders? And are they totally oriented to achieve the goal while being observant about the changes coming and being flexible enough to react to the changing environment? Secondly, we assess the way the project reaches its objectives and strategy. So we want to see how the stakeholders are being listened to, how stakeholders are being involved in defining the project objectives. What's the quality of these objectives? Are these objectives targeting the value delivery, or they are just let's say, artifact-oriented objectives that don't have the long-term value in mind. We look at how different stakeholders are involved in creation of project delivery strategy. So what's the potential of all these stakeholders you invited to the table, like your key partners, key suppliers, key contractors, have all their potential been used to build the right strategy to deliver the project? This is the kind of things we're looking into. And last but not least, we look at the way the team is managed. So we look at the way how you identify and develop competences needed to deliver your project. We look at the way the achievements are recognized and communicated. We look at the way how people are empowered in different parts of the project. How do you make sure that the people you invited to make this project happen, how these people are engaged to use their full potential and also to grow their potential, because growth is a big part, we believe, that should happen in the projects. I mean, when you get a person to your project, you should return a better person, so to say. So somebody who has extra competences that they got in this project, somebody who learned something, somebody who grown through participation in the project. And finally, we want to see how the cooperation, how collaboration has been organized. Have the right systems been applied? Have the project's organizational structures supported the right collaboration? Or have the project manager simply built the borders and used the tools only to separate people more? All these things are looked at in this part of the model. Secondly, the processes and resources, and this is maybe important for you to understand how we look at that area. In processes and resources, we look at two types of processes. We look at project management, and we look at other key processes. So just to give you an example, I come from IT environment. So for example, for me as an IT project manager, what is equally important is the way I manage project, but also the way key delivery processes are managed. So, I'm sorry, how, for example, the software is written, how the software is tested, how user interface design is being done. So we have the right product at the end. How the project outcomes are certified, for example, using various industry standards. All these things also have to be taken care of. It's not only management of the project itself, it's also management of key delivery processes and key supportive processes. In construction, that's going to be all kinds of technological processes, permissions, and other stuff that comes from the legal side of the project. So we expect project managers to recognize these things and to address them accordingly. And what we check here is the fit for purpose and continuous improvement. These are the main things we look at here. So do these processes truly really support project managers and the teams to get the job done? And secondly, are these improved as the project goes whenever there's something that can be done better for the rest of the project? And finally, for this one, we will use the good old PDCA. You probably are familiar with Deming's cycle. We use this on top of the criteria you've just seen, both for the people and purpose and for processes and resources. We would use PDCA as a foundation for scoring here. So we want projects to consciously choose their approach. We want projects to follow what they decided to follow. We want projects to check if that works. And we want projects to react if they can do it better. And all these 4 dimensions are part of the assessment as well. Finally, when you look at project results criteria, this model is quite special because to my knowledge is, I think, the only model that also, apart from hard results, like, have the project been delivered on time, within budget, etc., we also look at stakeholder satisfaction. So we will look to what extent your customer was satisfied, to what extent your team was satisfied. We will look to what extent your other stakeholders like suppliers, partners, local community, or whoever is the relevant stakeholder here was satisfied after the project. And of course, on top of that, we also look at the hard results like deliverables, like performance of the project. We also look at the impact on environment, because we believe in sustainable project management, and this model will not let you score high if your project was not sustainably managed or doesn't lead to sustainable results. So the model has a way to pick it up. And if you did it well, it will give you extra score for that. If you ignored sustainability, you will for sure see that in the score as well. What might also be interesting for you is what kind of feedback you get at the end. So there are a few types of feedback you get. First of all, you get scores. And we have a nice scoring system that is kind of a multi-level scoring. So you will get scores on every single detailed sub-criteria of the model, and they will be aggregated to bigger aggregates like criteria and areas. So at each level, you can see how your project performed. And if you're curious what's behind, you can drill down and get to the results. Another thing is that if you participate in the awards, one of the main outcomes of the process is that you will get a very detailed, it's usually 30-something pages long report where you will get detailed feedback on every single criteria of the model, telling you what kind of strengths we have seen in your projects, but also what areas for improvement we have noticed. So that's used by many of our awards participants to further improve their project management. We know that our, especially the participants are returning participants in the award, and we have quite a few. They use it every time we do it for them. They use it to further investigate what else they can improve. So every time they join us for the awards, their project management is becoming a better one. So if also what the model gives you is that it gives you a little bit of an insight on how to interpret different scores. Just to give you some examples, the profile that you see here is a profile of a project that has quite good processes and resources. It has quite good project results because around 60 is really good. The model is scaled the way that the by the book projects, they will get something in the middle because the rest is reserved for excellence and for innovation. So 60 is pretty good score. But this project, for example, has deficiencies in people and purpose. So what does it mean in practice? So for example, in practice, that might mean that this project might have a huge challenge when something changes significantly. Just to give you one example that we all experienced like 2 years ago, we had lockdowns coming all of a sudden, and many projects had to change rapidly. Those that were heavily reliant on processes, but had very poor leadership, but you have poor leadership, then these projects really had trouble to turn around and change and adapt to new reality they faced. On the other hand, if you have a profile like this, so you have fantastic people and purpose, but your processes and resources are not mature, you will have problems with scalability. And model gives you suggestions on that as well. So if you happen to have this profile, the challenge might be that as long as you have those few heroes that make these projects successful, you will be fine. But when you need to scale up, the lack of processes, the lack of industrialization of your project manager will chase you. So eventually what we're looking for is we're looking for projects that have it balanced. And if you look at those winning projects for the last decades, the winning projects, they usually have it beautifully balanced. So they demonstrated both great leadership, fantastic process orientation, great continuous improvement in those areas, and fantastic results as an outcome of this, meaning stakeholders being happy because of the leadership and because of the way processes were organized. And this is exactly what we're looking for when we look for the projects for the award. So now, after I shared a little bit more about the model itself, and once again, if you're curious about the model, I strongly encourage you to download the model. It is freely available on IPMA.World website. Once again, you get there by going to IPMA.World. You choose the tab that says for projects. There will be a separate tab that talks about project excellence baseline, and within the text that will display on the website, you will have a link that leads you to the IPMA store, and you can either buy a physical copy or you can download the model for free. Okay, so now let's speak a little bit about the award itself. So first of all, what could be the reason to apply to the awards? I will talk about it in details, but let me just very briefly tell you something from my own experience. It is a fantastic way to summarize your project, to get recognition for the job well done, not only for you, but also for the team that participated in the project. And it's also a fantastic opportunity for external evaluation. And we'll get into details of that in a second. So one of the benefits is that you will join a quite exclusive club of the award winners. And these are fantastic companies all around the world, usually leaders in their industries. And we have companies from pretty much every single major industry among the winners. And every time we have a congress, we actually invite these winners physically to join the club. So we have special meetings, special events, where you can share your experience and you can network among the best of the best of the best. And this in itself is a fantastic outcome of the whole process. We have finalists from pretty much all over the world. When you look at this map, you will see, of course, Europe is dominating here, but we have a lot of participants from Asia. We have quite a few from Middle East. Australia is growing recently. We have a number of applicants showing from Africa and both Americas. This is also a very growing area now. I know the numbers are small now, but there's a lot of interest in coming from those areas as well. But the point here is, this is a truly global competition. And you can truly match yourself with other projects of your kind from all the places on the globe. And we will also make sure that you as a member of the club of winners later, you have an easy access to these people so you could network further and exchange experience. If you look at the winners from the previous years, these are the ones from 2021. These are the ones from the mega-sized project category. These are so these are the companies that, for example, took part last year, but we have a lot of big logos also. So now coming in the details into the reasons for applying, what do we hear from the applicants? Some of them tell us, okay, we participate to tell the world. We are so proud of our project. We want the world to hear about it. And you know, it's a kind of a double opportunity, because one thing is that we as IPMA will make sure the world hears about your project, but also then you can use the event of getting the award as an opportunity for your own marketing and PR to further strengthen the image. And we know a number of companies that, especially those in the service area, that have their marketing plan prepared for the gala time. So no matter what the result is, they will make a good turnaround of that information, making sure that their customers, their communities, they see that company among that club, and that the project was a fantastic one. It's of course a great opportunity to celebrate. And you know, I've spoken to a number of applicants over the last years who told me straight away, they said, like, listen, Greg, we needed to have an opportunity to celebrate. Okay, when you finish the project, you have one. But usually things are fresh. You don't see the final income. You don't see the value coming out yet. And it's so fantastic to get the team once again together, for example, a year after the project, and celebrate again while seeing the final outcome, like the value, for example, being delivered to the community. And speaking about that, many applicants, they use the award system to reward their teams. Because, you know, people want to be proud of the projects they participated in. People want to have an opportunity to attach themselves to something that was recognized as being fantastic. So this award gives you that opportunity. You can actually do it the way that your team will get a huge boost in recognition throughout being able to say, I participated in something that was, for example, the best managed project on the planet. And also, as I mentioned before, and I will keep on saying that, award is a fantastic networking thing. I mean, every time we meet at the conferences, one thing I can tell you, the awards people, they get together, applicants, assessors, the board members responsible for award, kind of a community that sticks together for 20 years now. And you meet amazing people there. You meet people who managed the most spectacular projects on the planet in any possible industry. And it's so great to exchange experiences with them. Let me tell you one thing. What happens behind the door in the other room when you have the assessors training is now we have a number of individuals that represent a big variety of industries coming from few continents. I think we have 3 continents represented behind the wall. And these people right now for 3 days, they have an opportunity to exchange their experience. And this is what we praise in the award system. We stimulate that, and we'll also invite you to the process. And of course, the club I told you about, it's so good to be in that. We always make sure that you guys get together. This is a photo from one of our events where you have the Winners Club and you have participants from all winning projects spending time in one room and exchanging experiences. Fantastic moments. I always enjoy that, and I was so privileged to lead many of these club events. And for me, it was always like like little Christmas coming when it comes to ability to network, ability to exchange experience. And of course, finally, we make sure you learn a lot. You get a proper feedback report. You get a lot of opportunity to discuss with assessors. After the process, we make sure you meet with assessors again, and they will give you more detailed feedback. We make sure that you use this not only to get a trophy, but when you participate in the system, we want you to put it as a part of your continuous development and improvement effort. And we stand to that promise because we have arranged the entire system to support your company as strongly as possible to make your projects better throughout the process. Part of that is bringing independent experts to assess your project. So just a few words you can read from the previous winners. For example, this is for the last year's winners. They said starting point of our continuous improvement process. This is one of the organizations that have been participating in the award several times. And every time the company participated, they were always showcasing things they have improved in their company as a result of the previous year's process. Another one, there you have GE Steam Power Systems. They were gold winner in 2016. They really appreciated, they got a fantastic independent influential assessment. Again, the feedback was praised a lot. One thing I can tell you, GE was participating in the award several times, and every time they said, like, listen guys, we've learned so much from this process. We've learned so much. We want to participate again and again and again. Then, and by the way, this is also a low-cost assessment process, because if you would consider the cost of bringing consultants to give you that quality feedback, it would be way more expensive endeavor. So actually, budget-wise, you get the award for free, and you pay for a fantastic assessment process where we make sure you have the right professionals coming to your project. And of course, many of our participants, they say that as a result, they got a lot of internal appreciation for their project, either in their company or their country. This is a fantastic tool to strengthen your position as a professional, no matter if it's inside the company or in the industry or in the country. Again, learning experience. You see, these are all feedback about improvement learning, because this is what you get. So if that got you interested, if that got you curious about how to get into the system, we first of all suggest that you treat application to the award as a project. What we encourage you to do is to really define it as a project within your company, where you have clearly defined goals, which are beyond just getting a trophy, but also about learning from that process as much as you can. So once you have defined that project, we encourage you to also train your people. Contact the award office. We will give you all kinds of links and opportunities to get more knowledge about the model. It is good to understand the model when you apply, because you can showcase your project better. Then make sure you pick the right project for the competition. You write a report, which you will send to us. And then for large and mega sized projects, we will do the site visit. For the other projects, we will do the assessment kind of behind the scenes. It's a very well managed virtual process with also the right professionals behind it. So we always make sure that the quality of assessment is top notch. And finally, the last step is celebration and what's important, improvement after you get the report. So these are the categories with the requirements for them. You will find this information also on the website. So don't worry if you didn't manage to get that noted down. If you go to the awards website, so once again, it's you go to IPMA.World for projects, and there will be a whole subsection on the awards. You get that information there. Just pay attention to the dates. There are 2 application deadlines, 13 June for small and medium, and 25th April for large and mega. The reason the large and mega are earlier is because we also have to plan the physical site visit to your place, and that takes time. So make sure you apply on time so we can get the right assessors to assess your project out there. So for small and medium, we also encourage you to take part in a webinar like this. You submit the report, then please make sure you do it also on time. It's before June 13, and you will actually know the early decision already in August, and the final decision like who gets the actual award. So 22nd August is more about finalists, and then you will find out who gets the trophy during our awards gala. I will not walk through the dates. You will have the calendars on the website. So as we're nearing the end of our time, just please bear in mind that if your project is large or mega, you will have a site visit, and you have to make sure that the key people for the project are available. On average, we interview 20 to 30 stakeholders of the project when we come there. So pay attention to the dates, make sure people are not on holidays or something out there, because this is the most important part of the process, and this is also the most valuable for you. We also encourage you to also observe the process itself, because many of our applicants, they have learned a lot just from watching the assessors work. If you're curious about the costs of it, this is the price list. You see, it's a fairly low cost endeavor for medium and small projects. For larger projects and mega, it's 9,000 euro. It's significantly more. Plus, you should consider travel costs and accommodation for assessors. However, once again, look at it as a business case for independent assessment, not only the award, because we praise our model and our system as being the one that gives you way more value and feedback than any other award process when it comes to project management. It is actually as if you would purchase a sophisticated project review by a group of experts, and you do get detailed feedback. We never leave you with just information about the trophy. You actually get the report. You have a chance to talk to assessors later. It's a very, I would say, rich service that you receive. The award will be handed out this year in Tokyo. This is where we have our 33rd World Congress. And if you're already thinking about the next year, the award is going to be presented in Copenhagen on our 34th World Congress. The details about the Congress are also available on the website. So if you go to IPMA.World, you will find a program and everything. We encourage you to go there, because this is the unique opportunity to meet people from the Winners Club. This is how the timetable looks like, and you will find this timetable for the Global Project Excellence Award, for the small and medium awards, and for the individual awards. All these timetables are available on the website. So look for it there, and pay attention to the dates. Especially make sure you don't miss the submission dates. And also, if you're mega or large, make sure you book the site visit dates. And of course, we would love to see you in Tokyo at the Congress, because that's also where main events, award-related events happen. So having said that, we came to the end of time for our webinar, and I'm very happy that you joined us today. I hope you found this webinar interesting and informative. Once again, if you have any questions about the award system, you start with a website. It's www.awards.ipma.world, just like you see it on the screen now. Or you can contact the awards PMO. It's award@ipma.world. We are always happy to help you. We're always happy to assist you. If you need any support in learning the model, in getting materials, in finding out what's the best process to prepare for the awards, just contact us. We'll be at your service, making sure that we all enjoy this process together and we learn as much as we can, because this is what all this is about. Having said that, thank you for your attention. Have a wonderful day, wonderful afternoon or evening, whatever is the time at your place. And I hope to see you in Tokyo during the Congress.